What's up, buddy? Good morning. The shop build continues. We are on our second to last video unboxing all the new equipment for the shop. The electricians are nearly done their job out there, so that means we're getting this close to hooking up everything and getting it all running, which I'm very excited for because I want to start making stuff. We're going to be putting together four pieces of equipment today that all go with that new press that are going to make that thing super badass and make production amazingly smooth. Excuse me, sir, I'm trying to do my job here. I guess this is just how I'm filming the rest of this intro. Okay then. But before I get out there, I actually have a Zoom meeting to talk to some school kids today about screen printing, which is kind of awesome. Their teacher reached out to me to ask if I would talk with them about screen printing and the business around it, because I think they're gonna start printing there and possibly start their own merch store. So that's pretty cool. Also, a little bit ironic that someone would reach out to me to talk to school kids because I myself am a high school dropout. Stay in school, kids.
This is the first time I've ever showed up to school more prepared than a teacher. Glad to see this thing finally show up. I've been waiting for this since like early December, and it's a pretty essential piece to this shop. But big news since I started filming this video earlier today, the electrical is now complete. You have no idea how happy that makes me. The three-phase converter is now all hooked up and running like a champ, so we've got three-phase power running to all of our big equipment. The reason why that took so long is I waited 2 months for this giant 400 amp disconnect to get here to be able to hook that whole thing up. Stupid global supply chain issues. I've had enough of it. So with that all hooked up, I was able to finally fire up the first piece of equipment in here. I was able to give the dryer a quick test fire. It seems so good. So now I can get the HVAC guys in here to quickly run the ductwork for that thing, and that is all done. And I can finally call Rock on Monday morning and get them to send out the tech to finally build this thing and get us up and running. So we're very close. Anyways, we are here today to open and set up all of this stuff. We've got totally badass press and pre-press accessories in here, so I'm just gonna shut the hell up and start cracking boxes open. We got a little bit of a hiccup going on here. The bolts that were supplied to hold this control box on here are way too big. The holes that are drilled and threaded in this thing are these tiny little guys, whereas the bolts that I was given are these, which are clearly much bigger, which you probably can't even see right now. I'm gonna give you a little close-up so that you can see what I'm talking about. Now, the bolts that this is set up for, I don't have any of those. This is actually just what holds the lid shut on this thing. And they're also, they're kind of tiny, chintzy little things. I don't really trust them holding this whole control box on. Therefore, I'm gonna use the much bigger bolts that I was supplied. In my opinion, this is what should be holding this thing on here. This is like an M4 bolt or something like that, much beefier. And I'm just gonna drill these holes out and re-tap those threads. It's a good thing I was a mechanic before this. First up out of that pile of goodies, the most badass flash I've ever seen in my entire life. The Rock Dry Evolution 14400 XL, which is way too many goddamn syllables. This is what's gonna be handling all of the flash duties on our new auto. It's a quartz bulb flash, so it's got that instant on and off heat. It's not like an infrared flash that's just gonna be on all day, heating up the shop for no reason. And the most awesome thing about this flash is it is a smart flash. It doesn't work off of a timer or anything like that. It has this little temperature probe down here that works in conjunction with the brain on the press. So it senses the temperature of your garment. Once your garment hits the temperature that you set it to, it shuts itself down. So it basically eliminates any chance of ever over flashing, scorching, anything like that. So my production quality and consistency is about to go way up. I'm used to using a manual press and an infrared flash and just kind of timing it out in my head. And there have definitely been times where I've over flashed things, especially in the early days, like my first year or so of learning how to print, ruining thousands of dollars worth of hoodies with dye migration due to over flashing. So something like this badass rig right here can completely eliminate that problem. Moving on to our next box. I really don't think there's anything in here that needs to be put together, and it also kind of works together with that flash. So I think let's just open this one up now and see what we got. What we have here is the Stampinator 480, which was graciously provided to me by Rownet. What this thing is essentially is an inline heat press that goes on an auto, and it can serve a whole multitude of different functions. You could use your auto press to do transfers, you could do inline foil, you could run this thing in the very last print head and do full-blown stamp curing and eliminate the need for a dryer, or you could do what I'm gonna do and run it as your first flash for anything with a white underbase. So typically with a lot of people running autos, they'll run their first station as their white underbase, the next station as a flash, and then the third one will be a roller to smooth out and flatten their print. Now the rollers do work very well, only if your setup is dialed. And still, it's not gonna get as smooth and as flat as possible without adding some sort of heat to the mix. And of course there are things like heated rollers and irons, but some of that stuff still requires the flash beforehand. Whereas something like this unit, we've got the pressure to flatten things out and enough heat to full on cure that print if we wanted to set it that hot. So using this, I should be able to produce a glass smooth underbase to print my top colors onto, and then hopefully in the end, give our customers the best quality product that they've ever seen. It's gonna be cool. Hold up. We gotta take a quick break from putting stuff together in there because I think something really fucking awesome just got here. Yes! I've been working on getting one of these for 6 damn years. I don't even care about all that other stuff going on in the shop right now. This is the coolest unboxing that is happening in this video. Can't believe I'm finally holding one of these. If you saw the last video, I know I already said a big thank you, but I'm gonna say another one right now because now I'm holding this thing in my hands. This makes it real to me. I finally fucking have one of these. So every single one of you guys who watch these videos, subscribe to the channel, thank you so much, because without you guys, I wouldn't have one of these right now. All I can do is make the videos. Without you guys watching, I'm basically nothing. So, man, this means the world to me. Thank you guys. Now for the next challenge though. I want the gold version of one of these. Can we do 1 million subs? Maybe, maybe not. I'm sure as shit gonna keep pumping out videos, and hopefully we can make that happen one day. This kind of came at a good time too, because I'm decorating a new house right now. There's a lot of bare walls in here, so I gotta figure out where the hell I'm gonna put this thing. But that's Future Lee's problem. I gotta get back to work. So this is the ROC Positive Registration Unit, or PRU. I'm gonna start by saying their PRU system does work with CTS. I don't know jack shit about that though because I don't have one. I use film, so if you're using film, you would adjust this thing to your frame size beforehand, drop your screen frame into the PRU, which it does have air lockers to hold it in place. I don't have it hooked up right now. Once the screen is locked down, you've got these little lasers that slide around here. Each one has a registration mark on it. So you'll set up your first film wherever you want it to go, line those lasers up with it, lock them into place, and then just put each film down in place over top of those registration marks. And you should, when you're all done, have all your screens with the image in basically the same spot. After all of your screens are exposed, there is a pallet that goes along with this system. That pallet goes on the press. You line all of your screens up to that pallet, and if you've done this entire process correctly, you should have very little to no registration to mess around with. You should be able to just start printing that job with very minimal tweaks. That, of course, is a very, very basic explanation on how to use this thing. We'll get a lot deeper into it once I'm actually able to fire it up. I wasn't able to do that today because I noticed one thing on here that I really kind of don't like, is that this is the main air input for it. It's just one of those little push fittings, which is kind of annoying. I don't know about you, but I've never seen any shop having a tiny little 1/4 inch push fitting on their main air output system. It makes no damn sense to me. I personally would have liked a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch MPT fitting come out of here, which is basically the standard across North America for any sort of shop air delivery, but now I've got to do some sort of dicking around. I'm either gonna take this apart and modify it to have that, or I'm just gonna find a little push fitting to NPT end so that I can just put the proper end on there to plop it into a standard old air coupler. But still, I would have liked to get this running today, and that annoyed the crap out of me. Anyways, one more to go. Did you really think I was only gonna be running one Quartz Flash in here? Nah. We're running 2. This is the Rock Dry Run 14400 XL, which I'm sure you've read by now. Again, super huge name, but this thing is gonna be what we're running on our manual press when it gets here. I wanted to run a Quartz Flash on my manual press for a long time for a bunch of reasons. The first being the heat. I didn't want to have an infrared flash that's just running all day, creating a bunch of heat in here for no reason. This will cut down on that significantly and just make the overall work environment a little bit more comfortable. Plus, this thing has 3 different heat zones in it, so you can have it set up to trigger just 1, 2 of them, or all of them, depending on the size of your print. So if you've got a print that's only like this big, you can have it set up just to trigger 1 zone, and you're cutting down on the heat again, and the power usage as well. Efficiency and speed is another big reason. Quartz flashes, if you know anything about them, they get hot like that, so that's really awesome. And the consistency is a big one. As I talked about earlier with over flashing stuff on an infrared flash that's just on all the time, this thing you have a lot more control over. It doesn't have a fancy temperature probe set up like the other flash does, because this isn't gonna be plugged into a press. It's just gonna be running off of wall power, and there's no brain to tell it what to do and what not to do, but it still has a ton of control. It's got heat and time control, so you can really dial all that stuff in. And it's triggered by a foot switch, which unfortunately I don't have on me right now. It's gonna be here in a few days, I hope. But yeah, this whole setup is basically going to, again, eliminate the possibility of overflashing things. And another cool perk about having this thing is I can run it on the auto if I really need to add another flash on there. So overall, this thing is gonna serve a lot of purposes in the shop, and it's gonna just upgrade my entire life. So we're almost there. We're down to the final few steps on this entire shop build. Finally, I have to go through here and get everything all cleaned and organized, obviously, because it kind of looks like 7 different shades of shit right now. And then the final 2 big events are happening. The first, that auto is getting installed, and it's happening real quick too. I called Rock today to kind of lay down the groundwork and figure out when the date was gonna be, and the installer hit me up a couple hours later and was like, how about I fly out tomorrow night? Shit, okay. So my day tomorrow is gonna consist of hauling ass through here and trying to clean this place up the best that I can and get a lot of the other equipment that I haven't fired up yet running, like the film printer and a lot of stuff, because clearly we're gonna be running test prints on that thing after it's set up. And yes, I will be filming that entire thing, so expect 1, maybe 2 videos out of that. I don't know exactly how much time is gonna go into this whole thing. It's gonna be install time, training time, whatever, not sure, but you can bet that there's videos coming on that topic. And then the final one will be the manual press showing up here. That is gonna be something that is, it's amazing. I've only seen little teasers of it. They won't show me the actual thing. They want it just to be a surprise when it gets here, which kind of is driving me nuts at the moment, but believe me, I shared a little teaser on my Instagram. You can check that out right here. It's gonna be sick. But I gotta cut this one off right here because I literally have to start doing things to get ready for that installer right damn now. So please, hit that thumbs up button for me, subscribe if you haven't already, drop your comments down below. I cannot wait to drop these next few videos, man. We'll see you then.
Okay, come on. But before I do that, oh my God, his asshole's right in my face.
Shit, even with the wide angle, I can't get this thing in the shot and my head. Oh my God, it just took me like 10 minutes to say 4 fucking sentences.
Oh, this thumbnail's gonna be a pain in my ass. This shit is not light, so I better get this on the first try. Hit it. I'm out of here.